Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In one of my previous video, I discussed regarding morphology of herdmania. In continuation with that, in this video, I'm going to talk about the structure of larva of herdmania. The larva of herdmania is called as Ascidian tadpole. It is called as Ascidian tadpole because it resembles a tadpole of a frog. This Ascidian tadpole is very special because unlike the adult herdmania or adult form, it is a free living form and it shows all basic chordate character. Whereas the adult herdmania or the adult form is a sedentary form and it did not show much of the chordate character. Whereas this larval form shows all basic chordate character like the presence of notochord, presence of nerve cord and presence of pharyngeal gill slits. So that is why this larval form is different or special from the adult form. This larval form is free living form. So because of this nature, this larval form helps in the dispersal of the species. The larval form is transparent and it is very small of about 1.2 millimeter. And the body of this larva is covered by the thin layer of test or a tunic as like that of the adult form. The body of this larval form is divisible into mainly two parts, that is the anterior head part or the trunk part and the posterior tail part. So if you want to study the structure of larval form, you have to study both head and the tail part. So let me talk about this head and tail part one by one. First, let me talk about the anterior region, that is head part. As I already told, the head of the larva is much smaller when compared to the tail part of the larva. At the front end or at the anterior end of the head region, it consisting of three specialized structures called as adhesive papillae or fixation papillae. It is with the help of this adhesive papillae, the larva, after its free swimming life, it settles down and it gets attached itself to the suitable substratum to undergo metamorphosis. So it is with the help of this adhesive papillae, the larva attach itself to the suitable substratum. Just behind this adhesive papillae to the dorsal surface of the trunk, it has a simple nervous system. The nervous system consisting of anterior bulged part called as sense vesicle. So this is a sense vesicle and the same part is enlarged here. This is an enlarged diagram of sense vesicle. Sense vesicle mainly consisting of three parts, that is anterior cerebral cone, middle sensory vesicle and posterior visceral ganglion. This visceral ganglion made up of solid mass of nervous tissue and this solid mass of nervous tissue continue as a nerve cord till the tip of the tail. As you can see, this is a visceral ganglion part which continues as a nerve cord till the end or till the tip of the tail part. Second part is, or the middle part of the sense vesicle is sensory vesicle. This sensory vesicle also consisting of three parts. First one is unpaired or single pigmented part called as otocyst or statocyst and two paired unequal ocellus are present. The larger ocellus hang from the roof of this sensory vesicle and smaller ocellus arises from the floor of this sensory vesicle. Just behind this smaller ocellus, this pigmented otocyst is present. And this otocyst or statocyst also attached to the floor of this sensory vesicle. This otocyst or statocyst helps in equilibrium or it acts as an organ of equilibrium, whereas the ocellus or ocelli, that is two structures, so ocelli helps or act as a sensory organ. So that is about the nervous system of larva. Just below this nervous system, well developed digestive system is present. The digestive system consisting of alimentary canal. Alimentary canal starts with the mouth. Mouth is present at the anterior part onto the dorsal surface. Mouth leads to short buccal cavity. This buccal cavity opens into pharynx. The pharynx consisting of, or it is perforated by 6 stigmata or gill slits. Onto the ventral side of this pharynx, endostyle is present. This pharynx is surrounded by a cavity called as atrium or atrial cavity. This atrium opens to exterior by an opening called as atrial aperture. Onto the dorsal surface, this atrial aperture opens to exterior. Just below the pharynx or ventral to pharynx onto the posterior side, heart and pericardium is present. This perforated pharynx leads to short esophagus. Esophagus then open into wide stomach. Later, this stomach opens into short intestine, and this intestine leads to finally rectum. This rectum part opens into this atrial cavity or atrium. The funny part of this digestive system is, though the animal has a well-developed alimentary canal, it is non-functional. It is non-functional because the mouth, that is the opening where the food get entered into the digestive system, this mouth itself is covered by a thin layer of test or tunic. So there is no question of digestion of food then. So larva does not feed, or it is a non-feeding form. So that is about the anterior part, that is head or the trunk. Now let me talk about the posterior part of the larva, that is tail. The tail is laterally compressed and it is fringed with the caudal fin, which is made up of test or tunic. The tail also consisting of oblique striations which looks like a fin rays. The tail is provided with the tail muscles which shows superficial segmentation. On the dorsal surface of the tail, it consisting of nerve cord which continues from the head or the trunk part. Just below this nerve cord, you can see a solid notochord, and notochord is confined only to the tail part. The notochord is a solid cylindrical rod-like structure which is filled with the fluid. So that is about the posterior tail part of the larva. So this larva, after non-feeding free-living form, it settles down and it get attached itself to the suitable substratum with the help of this adhesive papillae, and it undergo metamorphosis to form a adult herdmania or Ascidia. So that is all about the structure of Ascidian tadpole. I hope this video will be useful. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.